Hi everybody, Ellen here. Today I come to you guys with another book review, and today I'm going to talk about The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson because I cannot get enough of, reviewing Brandon Sanderson books. But this is the first book in the second Mistborn era. So first we have the original Mistborn trilogy, which is made up by 3 books, obviously, since it's a trilogy. But this is the sort of 4th book in this kind of universe and world, but it's in the second era. So this book actually takes place a couple of 100 years later than the original trilogy. So we obviously follow other characters. But in this one we meet Wax and Wayne, and they're sort of not really, they're sort of crime fighters, if you will, because they try to stop and prevent crime, but they do not work with the cops or anything. They just sort of kind of do their work for them in some cases. But Wax is sort of retired. He's sort of this prestigeful sort of lord, and since his uncle died, he has to take over the estate, and he has sort of to grow up and do his job properly. So he actually kind of stops with the crime fighting things. But then one day his friend Wayne comes back and tries to rope him into this case, and obviously he goes along with it. So first of all, Wax and Wayne are so well written. The characters are just amazing, and they're so funny and cool, and they're both very different from each other, but you can't help but feel like they're the perfect duo, and they're just so funny. And I really did love the original Mistborn trilogy, and therefore, you know, the world, and I love the fact that you get to be in the same world, although it's a couple of 100 years later, but it's the same world, it's the same magic system, and they do talk about some of the mention some of the characters from the original Mistborn trilogy, and that's always fun. But since we do have the same magic system, I feel like it keeps evolving. They can make it more and more depth to it, and it keeps changing, and he just keeps adding to it, and it makes the powers so cool, and they can do things that you didn't know about before, and it gets so much cooler, and I love that. And I love like sort of magical powers and allomancy, as they call it, because the powers that they do have come from allomancy, meaning that some people can inhale pretty much different kind of metals, and then they get powers like stopping time or move things pretty much with your mind, and it's so cool. But the fact that Wayne and Wax actually try to prevent crime makes this book so kick-ass and very, very deadly, to say the least. But it's really cool, and it's just such a quick book, and you just flew through it, and it's so much fun. And you just feel like this is a perfect continuation of this world, at the same time as it's a perfect start for this sort of new series at the same time, if that makes sense. And I loved it so much, and I just really want to continue on with this series, as you may have understood from my high praise here. But yeah, I really like this book, and so much happening, and you just have a lot of questions all this time, and you do get answers to these questions, but at the same time there pops up new questions that you want answers to, and that really is what keeps you wants to continue reading, and you want to find out what is going to happen, and you're still left with a few teeny tiny questions when the book ends, which means that you have to read book 2. But yeah, as you might have understood, I gave this book quite a good rating, because I ended up giving this book 4.5 out of 5 stars, because honestly, Brandon Sanderson can do no wrong.